Great. Well, thank you for joining us today on our weekly webinar. Today we are going to go over how to create templates in ZipForms. It should save you a lot of time in the future to already have the forms pulled up and some of the information pre-filled out. I highly encourage you to create quite a few templates, ones for different scenarios, but today we're just going to walk you through 3 of them. So we're going to first start you with the new listing template. Then we're going to show how to create a template for a purchase agreement. Then we're going to do a disclosure template. So from your dashboard in ZipForms, you're going to come over here and click on templates. Once you click on templates, we're going to click over here to new. And we're going to pick a new listing and name it. So, listing test. Pick your category, residential. You can have these auto apply. I suggest you just apply them at the time that you're starting your new transaction and don't have them auto apply, but you can if you'd like. Now we're just going to hit save. From here, you're going to come up to the top left and click on Add Doc. And we're going to add forms. From the form libraries, I'd like to start off with the car library. And I think attaching a cover sheet is very valuable to any of your listings or transactions. You fill that information out in the beginning and then it transfers on to all the forms throughout anytime you add one. So we're going to start off with the cover sheet, a residential listing agreement. Then we're going to add a PED. So we are asking for the PED at the time of a listing. And there's quite a few of them. If you hover your mouse over them, you can see that this one right here just says PED. Whereas this one right here says PED 9. So just want to make sure you grab the right one. And we're going to come up here to the library, go to the Sierra Sotheby's library. And today we're going, we need to clear the search that I did. Now we can see all the forms. And today we're just going to do a Truckee one. So I'm going to grab a Greater Truckee listing agreement. And now close those forms. So now we have all the forms. Open up your cover sheet. And this, we're not going to want to add the buyer's or seller's information because this is a template that's going to change each time. But you can select, the X right here if you would like to have that pre-done for 1 or 2. We're not going to know any of this information because this is, a generic template that you're just going to have to come in here and customize. But you will want to fill out the seller's broker information. And then you're going to want to fill out your information. Along with your license number. So the more stuff you fill out now, the more it just automatically applies. And you do want to make sure your email address is on here so that when you use electronic signatures like DocuSign, your email is already here. For the most part, that's all you're going to fill out on the cover sheet of a listing. So now we're going to come up here to the top left and hit save and click the back button to go to the rest of the forms. Now we're going to click on your residential listing agreement. And scroll down. So once again, property address is going to be blank. A lot of this information is going to be blank because this is just a template so that you have all the right documents pull up right away, and some of the stuff pre-filled. So we do suggest, you try to get your 6%. So if you go ahead and put 6% right there, some people right here, this number of days usually change anywhere from 60 to 120. Put whatever your normal is, normal date range is. Over here is the percentage that you're offering in the MLS. So if it's a 6% listing and you're offering 3% to the buyer's agent, we'll go ahead and add that right there. And scroll down to the multiple listings service. If you normally have a listing that goes into 2 MLSs, this is where you're going to put that. If not, you're just going to put your MLS that's normally a part of. So if you were listing in Tahoe Sierra and Plumas, you could list both of them right there. If not, you could just do Tahoe Sierra. And for the most part, those are your basic items that are going to be the same for every listing. The rest of it's just going to have to be customized. So now we're going to come up here to the top left and hit save. I'm going to back out. And now we've got all 4 documents ready to go. For the most part, these are all going to need to be customized. So we've really filled out the basic information that we can for all the documents for a new listing. This is an advisory, so the address will populate here and the seller's name will populate once you put that in. And you can have new listing templates for maybe for different areas. Yes, so this one's for Truckee. You could also do a new listing template for the North Lake Tahoe area and use that addendum advisory instead of the Greater Truckee one. And now that one is ready to go. We are all done with it. You can just go back to your list right here and create a new one.
Any questions on the listing template before we move to the next one? All right, Joe, looks like you're good.
If you did want to create another one and change it to change the advisory, you could actually copy this template right here, name it North Lake Tahoe, click save, come in and edit it. So now we're going to click on it. I'm going to remove this document by clicking on the arrow right here and hitting delete. Yes, I'm sure. Now I'm going to come over here to forms. And I'm already in the Sierra Sotheby's library. Now I'm going to come down here to the North West Lake Tahoe Area Advisory, add that form in. And now we have 2 different templates that are easily available for you. You can actually rename this first one that I did by coming up here and going to template details and up here at the top, rename it and click save. So now we have 2 different new listing templates that are just ready for you to apply to new listing and customize for your new listing. Now we're going to create a purchase agreement template. I'm going to click on new purchase offer, name it. And you can name it for a specific area if you wanted. Residential. Add if you would like it to auto apply. By selecting a template, you're adding it to an existing template. So for the most part, you just need it to stay on my templates and hit save. And now we're at the point where we can add forms. So over here at the top right, click on all forms. I like to start off with card. So today we're giving an example on a buyer purchase agreement. So we're going to start off with a cover sheet. The residential purchase agreement. We can either scroll down, or I like to use a search function for the SBSA. We want to add an MCA. And now we're going to change the folder up here, the library, to the Tahoe Sierra library. We're going to X the search so that it pulls up all the documents. And we are going to add the addendum to purchase the contract, Tahoe Truckee Regional Area Advisory. Now we've got all the forms that we want in here. Now we're going to open up the cover sheet. And once again, we're not going to know the buyer's information. It's just a template, so you can add the X's if you want. That just lets people know where to sign. We're not going to know any of the property information. If you do have a title company that you normally work with, and obviously it's the buyer's choice of what title company, but a lot of our buyers are from out of the area and trust you as their advisor. So I'm just going to put Placer today. Escrow number we don't have, address. So the more information you fill out now, the easier it's going to be for your escrow officer later on, or your transaction manager. And the more you fill out now, the more it will be in there for later. All right, so officer name, we'll go with Lori. Phone number. I had that pre-filled earlier, but it's not coming in, so I'm just gonna give a sample. And definitely want to add email addresses, because if you go to use DocuSign from here, it will automatically pull that up. We're going to scroll down, and now you're going to enter in the buyer broker information. This is where you're going to want to put your information in. And always make sure you put your email address in. We added the escrow information. Now we're going to come down here and add the title information. Name and email address. Pest is something that could change each time. Disclosure information, can change, but you could put in something there if you'd like. There's not really a need to put in the address or any of that for the disclosures. Now we are done with the cover sheet. We're going to come up to the top left and hit save and go back. Now we're going to open up the residential purchase agreement. So all this stuff will auto-populate once you apply this template to a transaction and you actually fill in the buyer and seller's information. But there are a few things we can add right now so that your form is ready to go. Let's see. So we're going to come down to the forms down here. So 5A, we can click other and we can add in the addendum to purchase contract. And 5B, we can add other, the Tahoe Truckee Regional Area Advisor, TTRAA. So we've already got disclosure source in there. We can ask right now for the seller to purchase it. Right here, it's a good suggestion to add buyer and as deemed necessary by buyer.
Joel, I also like to include the SBSA as a preform checkbox.
Oh, thank you. I had that one. I missed that. That's a good, thank you for calling that. And then we're going to come down here to government requirements and retrofits. So I'll ask the seller for those. You know, obviously those are things that can be countered back, but we always want to try to see if the seller can fix those on their own. Now we've come to escrow and title. It's normally something split 50-50. So,
Hey, Jarrell, can I interrupt for a moment?
yes.
Rick Radiziner here.
Hi, Rick.
On 2B, item 2, item 2, seller shall pay in compliance any other mandatory government retrofit standards requires condition of close, whether known or whether the work is required to be completed before, after close of escrow. Typically, that is almost always countered. And so, because they say, well, we don't want to be responsible for items that might be a retrofit down the road that we're not even aware of.
So Rick, that's correct, but we're talking about one as we're representing a buyer, and we're just giving the suggestion that we're representing a buyer. We'd like to ask for this. Darrell mentioned that it's typically countered. You don't have to have this pre-filled in. It's optional. She's just taking you through the boxes that can be checked.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to escrow and title, I've selected buyer and seller, and I'm going to now put split 50-50. It pulled the title information in from the cover sheet. Right here, it's typically 50-50. So I'm going to select buyer seller and say split 50-50. And right down here under 8B2, we're going to click on all stoves, all refrigerators, all washer and dryers.
Again, that's an option and it can be changed, but this is just the template. So this, we're just showing you that, you know, to have it in there now, but when if you talk to your buyer and they have their own equipment they want to bring over, you would obviously uncheck it when you're completing this for a specific buyer.
For the most part, the rest of the contract is all customizable depending on the situation of the buyer. But down here, we're going to scroll down to page 9. And right here under 31, this is the spot where you're going to want to insert your name. So I'm putting right here buyer's agent name and Sierra Sotheby's. So this is saying who is to receive it, Jamie? Right here.
Trying to unmute, sorry. That's correct. The reason we want to add Sierra Sotheby's as well is, say you are out of the area and you've asked someone to, you know, cover for you, but when you put this into contract, you didn't know, or they sent it into the office, dropped it off to the office, and one of us accepted it on behalf of you. It should really include the agent's name and our brokerage.
Jamie, I have a question about that. If it says buyer's agent and Sierra Sotheby's, is that, I guess my question is, it should be and or and/or? It's
up to you, Rick, how you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I like the point that you're saying it doesn't have to be received by both. However, if it's received by you, the buyer's agent, it's received by Sotheby's, right? But we did, the whole point is we just want to include the brokerage name on there in case your partner or a TC or your manager or reception receives it or something, it's deemed received.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's do and/or. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Perfect. Great. So for the most part, those are the fields that can be filled out ahead of time so that your form is ready for you to get in and customize for your transaction. So I'm going to hit save in the top left. And hit the back button. These forms really are just, you know, signatures, property addresses, so there's not much to customize on each of these. It's just important that you can already have them here and ready to go, and you don't have to go finding your forms every time you want to do write a new offer. Do we have any questions about templates for the purchase agreement? All right, now we're going to move on to disclosures. So we're here at the top left. I'm going to hit the back to list button. Now I'm going to click on new. And it's going to be under the new purchase or offer. We can go ahead and click residential. You can you can add whether you want to auto apply. And like I said, for the most part, you just want to add it to my templates. And we're going to hit save. And come over here to the top right, click all forms. I like to start off with the car. So now we're in the car library and just start typing in the disclosures. TDS, SQ, Avid 1 as the buyers, as the sellers, because now we're representing a seller, switching gears. HOA, so there's the 3 that you want to grab from HOA. When you hover your mouse over, you can see what the name, this is HOA IR2. We want the HOA IR1, so we're going to just come down here a little bit. Now I found it, HOA IR1. Click on that. We want to add an HOA RN1. And down here, we want an HOA RS1. Now we're going to go to our to the Tahoe Sierra, no, to Sierra Sotheby's library. And we're going to add in the home insurance advisory and the square footage and lot size advisory.
So I just want to remind you guys, you can add as many other forms or documents and disclosures that you would like. If you're working on your purchase contract and you generally work with a lot of trusts or LLCs or anything like that, you can have that stuff automatically populate in for you. You're just going to have to remember, if it doesn't apply, then you'll remove that or not use that form when you go to execute the document. So you can add as many forms as you like, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you find yourself using the most. It's just we're trying to show you the most efficient way and the forms that we see the most often. Then you can, because you can also add them later, right? It doesn't have to be part of the template. So it's up to you.
And I'm going to show you, when we're done with this, how to make one for North Lake Tahoe. So right now we're making the Truckee one. I'm going to show North Lake Tahoe where we can add in the BMP disclosure.
Hey, you guys, this is Gretchen real quick. Did you just say, if I missed it, maybe you can have a bunch of them and then just take them out later too?
Yes, definitely. You can always
So, like,
take out a form later.
Like if I put a trust advisory in the template, but then don't need it, it's easy just to get rid of it?
Yeah, you would just hit the arrow and delete it. So I'm going to apply these to a transaction here in a minute, and I'll show you how to remove something.
Okay, cool.
What I would suggest, however, is that you have a list of templates to use, right? So you can have a trust listing or trust transaction template that you're going to pull if you're working with a trust.
Right,
so
right.
We're just letting you know that you can either add or delete documents at any point that you pull over a template.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So we have a form I'm going to add that is in our SkySlope working documents. That is the, what is it, addendum to.
It's the advisory on how the
Advisory.
seller should complete a TDS.
So I'm going to come over here to the top left and hit Add Doc and browse for documents. So I've already gone to SkySlope working docs and I've already downloaded this form.
It's right there.
Where?
It's the second one from the top.
Oh, my thing's covering it up.
Oh.
Zoom is covering it up. Ooh.
Does that help?
Okay, maybe if I go like that, there we go. Okay. So you can add in other documents that are not just a ZipForms and save it as a save it in your templates. And there it is.
As a reminder though, if you're creating a template and you're pulling a document that's not already pre-filled into our library of ZipForms, you want to be conscious about revision dates. So if we inform you that we've updated one of these documents that you're getting from working documents, because if you're not going to go to working documents in SkySlope every time to get this, and 5 months ago you downloaded it and you put it into a template, but 3 months ago we updated it, you have to be, you just have to be diligent about anytime there's a revision that you replace the document in your template with the most current document.
Yes.
If it's coming from outside of ZipForms libraries.
Very good point. ZipForms documents will auto update, but these documents won't. So anytime we have tell you about a new form, it's a good idea to download it and add it to your template and just have it in there saved already. You can't really add any verbiage to one of these PDFs either, but that is something you can do at the time of DocuSign if it's needed. Luckily, this is just a signature, so when you go to bring this over to DocuSign, you can easily just place signature and date for your seller. Great, so now I'm going to go back to list. And I'm going to come over here to the disclosure template that I just created, click on the little arrow down, and I'm going to hit copy. And I'm going to change it to North Lake Tahoe, West Lake Tahoe. Save. Now I'm going to open it to edit it. I'm going to come over here and add the BMP forms. So I'm going to go to the Tahoe Sierra Association Library and click on BMP. And if that area requires the wood stove, the wood heater, you can add that too. Jamie, is it both or is it just one? I'll add both.
Sorry, trying to unmute myself. It depends, right? So if you're doing Truckee, so I'm going to back up a little bit. If it's a template for the Truckee area, the only time you would consider about using the wood stove or wood heater is if you're the wood stove is if you're in the back part of Sierra Meadows, which is Placer County, right? So, and then on the other side, if there isn't, if you just have to know if there is one in the unit or not. One is saying that there isn't. One is saying that it's compliant or not, I believe. I'd have to look at both of them to tell you this.
Yeah, because one is a disclosure and one wasn't. So that's probably what that is. All right. So now we've got a new template updated for North Lake Tahoe. So we've got 2 disclosure ones already ready. Now I'm going to go to the dashboard, click on transaction, and create a new one. So let's go with purchase offer. Residential. And now we can come down here and select my templates. So we can go right here to purchase agreement test. Purchase agreement test Truckee, hit save. And this is to help finish filling out the information on the cover sheet, which will then apply to everything throughout your transaction. You can click right here on documents and see that all the documents are added. You can easily add documents. And you can easily take a document away by just clicking on the arrow and hitting delete. Is there any questions? I think for the most part, that's kind of it. Hopefully everyone knows about this MLS Connect. If you click on the MLS Connect and you know an MLS number, it will bring in all the information for that listing. So it will go onto the MLS, it pulls the address in, it pulls the selling agent's information and brokerage information, and it'll include a nice little photo to go on your dashboard. So I definitely, if you're not using this MLS Connect, make sure you start using it because it's really helpful. And I think that's all. Is there any questions?
Well, thank you.
This is a great time to spend, working on your business and help prepare yourself, just come in here and make some templates so that you're all ready when things start booming again. So thank you for joining. Hopefully you learned a lot, and this will go up on our portal under past webinars so you can reference it later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.